knowledge engineering is an intentional way of looking at our knowledge assets, our information assets, our content assets, in order to make better use of them so that we can solve problems more quickly. An organization runs on its knowledge, and whether it's customer service, whether it's a salesperson solving a problem, whether it's an engineering organization developing new products and a marketing organization developing new services, it's all about knowledge. And it's all about getting the right information when you need it. So it's more important now than ever, especially with the advent of emerging technologies like chatbots and artificial intelligence. These things run on knowledge. They run on data. They run on content. A lot of call centers are also beginning to experiment with things like chatbots and artificial intelligence. So a chatbot requires that an organization has its knowledge management infrastructure in place. It requires that they have the data, the content, and the knowledge that they need to answer questions that their customers have.
There is a tendency to want to pick up a piece of chatbot software, hard-code it, and just get right to work. But what you're missing there is the foundational information architecture that underlies all of that. We've seen in the field other customers trying to do that. They get their R&D teams hyped up and they get the software in their hands. But again, it's hard-coded, so there's not much scale. You're not going to have a good time with it, and it's not going to be a very dynamic solution at the end of the day.
And a bot needs to be programmed. A bot needs to be told what the answers are and needs to be programmed in terms of the knowledge to answer those questions. Those require knowledge. They require knowledge assets. So many times an organization is trying to build these things, they're trying to take advantage of new technologies, but they don't have their data house in order. They don't have their content assets in order. They don't know where the answers are. And AI is not going to figure that out for them.
I think a lot of customers start their relationship with us thinking they want a chatbot, but they haven't actually thought about what needs to go behind that chatbot in order to make that chatbot intelligent. And we've had some ask us, well, can't you just do that? Can't you just organize our information so that the chatbot can use it? And we've said, we don't actually provide that as a service, which is one of the motivations of that partnership, is to be able to say, yes, actually we do. We have a partner who can help you get that structure behind your information and prepare it so that the chatbot can leverage it.
What early information science does is it goes into the organization and it helps to fix those processes. We go upstream, we look at the knowledge sources, we look at the content sources, the data sources, and we help the enterprise build the systems and the processes that they need and architect the processes and architect the knowledge and the data they need to run these types of tools and to get the best out of their technology.
The professional services team typically focuses just on the CXP software and the services surrounding that, implementation, for example, maintenance, support. But our team typically gets brought in to help bring customers' data houses back in order. Let's face it, data is a messy business, and it is very difficult to find a customer that has their data house very well structured, and that's what we do. We get in, we roll up our sleeves, we have taxonomists that will typically come in and help to get the data better structured so that it is more readily usable by a chatbot. We've been involved with an alliance with Aspect Software. The two teams have been working closely together to come up with a prototype that we could showcase at the ACE conference back in April in Las Vegas. The use case that we focused on with Aspect was the field sales use case. So leveraging Aspect's CSP software, a field salesperson could pick up their phone and through a dialogue loop with SMS messaging, they could search for a piece of collateral. In this case, it was a case study. You can align it to an industry. So through that transaction or that dialogue or that exchange that's happening with the chatbot that's interfaced through the phone, a field salesperson could pick up a piece of collateral and very quickly hand it off to a customer.
Maybe it's easier to start with the situation where it's not necessarily that needed. If what they're looking for is to provide information on a very small set of facts, and they really don't need to have a larger structure behind it or more intelligent reasoning about how these facts are related, then that might not be necessary. But if they're trying to put together an FAQ bot that's just answering 10 questions, and that's a relatively straightforward situation, But if they want to create a bot that can have access to information that is a large set of information, such as the user manual for a car, for example, and you want to be able to ask hundreds of different kinds of questions to get access to all of this information behind the operation of this car. And now we have also additional issues with, well, different versions of this car get released over time, and so some of these details may be changing. We're talking about dynamic knowledge base. A lot of customers haven't yet thought about their knowledge infrastructure, that their information is just in large amounts of text, and they haven't had that thought, but they know they want it to be available to the bot. Well, this has got to be part of the pipeline to make that bot happen.